Well, good evening, everybody out there in internet land. My name is Brian Trippett. I am the Front Porch Conservative, and welcome back to the Blue Monday version of Chat. No, see, it's Monday and I'm already choked up. I'm so bad off I can't even talk. Oh my goodness, terrible, terrible, I say. But what is not terrible is the fact that we are gathered together on the electronic front porch. You and I and lots of other people out there in Fedora Nation. We are on Rumble, we are on Twitter, and we are on that quaint little alternative social media platform known as YouTube. So if you haven't done it yet, please do me a favor and go ahead and subscribe to my channel on YouTube and on Rumble. And by the way, all you YouTube subscribers, we're down to almost 28 days till the election. Don't you think YouTube's not going to start playing games with my channel? So double check, make sure you're still subscribed. And if you're not subscribed, go ahead and do what lots of people are doing anyway. Subscribe to the channel on YouTube and on Rumble. Glad to have you all here tonight. Got a ton to talk about. Lots of things to get into. TBA asked me over on Rumble, Cat got your tongue? No, but something choked me up real bad. But now, who knows? Hard to say with me. You never know what's happening. And if you're wondering who it's happening to, and you just happened on this live stream and said, who's this dashingly handsome devil in the fine hat? Well, ladies and gentlemen, my name is Brian Trippett. I am the Front Porch Conservative. I am sometimes known as the fine fella in the fedora. Sometimes I'm called the common man with common sense. But above all else, in this hour, in this place, in this space that is known as the internet, I am known as your host. Again, we are on Rumble, we are on Twitter, and we are on YouTube. Oh man, it's Monday. We got a lot to talk about. Lots of things going on out there in the world. It's all good. Glad you guys are here with us tonight. Lots of stuff to get into. Looking forward to it. To the best audience on the internet. Let's get this party started and let us have ourselves a whole lot of fun doing it. Oh my goodness. I hope the rest of your weekend was good. For my part, I had a really good one. Got to spend time with fam. Got to see Ma Trippett. When I found out that when she found out her name is occasionally dropped on this live stream, she's like, "You better not get me involved in this." I'm like, well, a little too late for that. Oh well. Let's see, who all's in the house so far. Gypsy is here. Mwah. Good evening, darling. The way you're asking me that question, Peter, is misinformation. Yeah, we are indeed living in wild times. Yes, Fedora Nation, indeed we are. Please let me know, BT, if you ask a question in a misinformation. I'll be the first to let you know, Gypsy. You have no worries about that. None whatsoever. Midmo's here. Good evening, my love. Mwah, darling. So good to see you. So good to see you lovely ladies over there. And even Midmo, too. No, I'm just kidding. Let's see who's in there on the Rumble side. Looks like the Wingnuts are out in full force. TBA is like, good evening, Fedora Nation. Prayers for all of Florida. Oh, man. Yeah, Florida looking bad, dude. Looking really bad. WWG1's dropped some stuff in chat. We'll take a look at all that stuff in a minute. Looks like memes and a whole combination of different things. So yeah. And speaking of Florida, as of about 6 o'clock this evening, that you're looking at is Hurricane Milton. And I don't know how much you've been keeping up with what's going on, but that thing has now strengthened to a Category 5 hurricane, and it is now moving east. And yeah, I tell you what, Minmo, this hurricane is weird. Very weird indeed. I was having a conversation with my good buddy Smiling Jack the other night, and Smiling Jack and I were on the phone together, and I said, this has got to be the weirdest hurricane I've ever seen. He's like, what do you mean? I said, you do know where this one originated, right? He's like, well, yeah, probably out in the Atlantic. I was like, I said, this one originated in the Gulf of Mexico. He said, what? I said, yeah, probably a couple hundred miles off the Mexico coast, and it's heading east. I said, I've heard of one maybe that hit the Central America, and then it swerved up and went northeast, but I've never heard of one going due east from its point of origination. Just very, very weird. we need to have a frank discussion about something, because there's enough scientific data out there by our own government, by the way, that is leading me to believe, we need to have what the heck has our government been doing for the past 30 years or so? Because I'm getting some funky reports. But what you're looking at right there is a Category 5 hurricane. The last report that I had, that thing was supposed to hit landfall about 1 o'clock Wednesday. Now, it's slowed down. That may delay it a little bit, but the last report I heard, and again, if y'all got more updated information, let me know. But the last report I heard was 1 o'clock Wednesday. Now, that said, my good buddy and yours, the high harlot, Mike Harlow, he's supposed to come on the porch tomorrow night for a conversation. And I sent him a message on Sunday, and I told Mike, I was like, look, man, if you want to reschedule this thing, just say the word and we'll do it. But, if you need to get out of there, because, from what I understand, there are evacuation orders already in place. They're telling people, get out. I know, Ruben, I'm with you, brother. I'm with you on this. This thing is freaking weird. Weird beyond all imagination. I'm with you. But yeah, Mike's supposed to be on my channel tomorrow night. I left him a text message on Sunday, and I told him to give me a call and let me know. And I'm going to call him tonight after we get done. But in theory, he's supposed to be here tomorrow night. And just be advised, that may not be happening. Now, he's on the Orlando side of Florida. This thing's going to hit Tampa, but still, it's not going to take this thing any time at all to cut across the Florida Peninsula. And the way it looks, he's in the path of this thing. And what I'm about to say next, I would say, even if Mike weren't involved, and you all know, undoubtedly have friends and relatives down there, check on them, pray for them. Lord have mercy. I've never seen a time in America where we got so much going on in the way of bad news. Just when we're starting to get a handle on things in the Carolinas and Georgia and Tennessee and Virginia and even Florida, because that's where Helene landed. But man, this is just straight crazy. So yeah, if you got friends or relatives down there, call them, check on them, send them a text message, find out where they are. I know, just as an example, not that per se he and I are real good friends. I know of him. The social media guy, well, I shouldn't say social media guy, it's not a good way to describe him, but Benny Johnson, he and his wife and the 3 kids, and they evacuated out of there. Now, where he's at this point, I don't know, but there's a whole bunch of folks down in Florida that had to pull out. So check on your friends, check on your relatives. Let's, as much as we can, communication is key. Let's help each other out here. And, by all means, let's do everything we can here. Let's do everything we can. So yeah, Mikey's supposed to be here tomorrow night at 7 p.m. Eastern. So we'll see. But boy, I have to say, not that I'm prone to brag on myself, but daggone, I love that thumbnail. Finally, I came up with a Chattin on the porch. Now, don't get me wrong, I like the general one that I've got. This one I'm really fond of. But that's just me. I'm bragging on myself. Yeah, if the patents exist, there's some, we need to have some serious conversations about this stuff. But anyway, now, we need fear not, my friends, because the federal government is on the case, making their preparations for Hurricane Milton. And believe it or not, we got Kamala Harris today to say something about, what's going on in Florida as everybody's getting ready for Hurricane Milton. And we've even got her comment here. So lest you think that she's not on top of the situation, folks, check it out.
The other point I'd make is that there's a lot of mis and disinformation being pushed out there by the former president about what is available, in particular to the survivors of Helene. And first of all, it's extraordinarily irresponsible. It's about him. It's not about you. And the reality is that FEMA has so many resources that are available to folks who desperately need them now, and resources that are about helping people get back on their feet and rebuild and have places to go. You are entitled to these resources. People are entitled to these resources, and it is critically important that people apply for the help that is there to support that. All of those resources were created for just these kinds of moments in an emergency situation, knowing that folks are entitled to have the relief that they so rightly need at this moment in time. So listen to your sheriff around the places that have been impacted by Helene. Listen to your local sheriff, who's going to tell you straight about what's available to you and how, for so many reasons and ways, there are no conditions attached to the relief that's available.
Oh, what was it that Churchill once said? Never have so few said so little with so much. Why in God's name that woman tries to get in front of a microphone and communicate, I have no idea. Yeah, that's great question. Great question. Absolutely great question, dear. You're not getting any argument from me. Now, by the way, and I haven't got it pulled up, but just as I'm always in the habit of passing along political scuttlebutt, and by the way, I don't want any malicious rumors about me started from this channel. I will never repeat gossip, so you better listen close the first time. That said, let me pass along one piece of political scuttlebutt that I have heard. Apparently, somebody is trying to get a beef started between Vice President Kamala Harris and Florida Governor Ron DeSantis. Now, I don't have the clips pulled up for it, but there's a report going around that supposedly she made a phone call down to DeSantis, and DeSantis refused the call. And now DeSantis is vehement about this. He is on the record in front of a TV camera, absolutely denying it, but apparently somebody's spreading this story around. You wouldn't think this sort of thing would be political, but then again, after watching what's going on with Helene, yeah, hurricane relief can be very political, apparently. Yep, very true, very true. How can they request what they need when every effing document of their life? Yeah, exactly, and they don't have the documents to get them approved. Roast beef? I'm not quite sure the reference, but hi, Robert. How you doing, brother? WG1 says, repeating gossip is my life. You have no idea the things I say about you. Wait a minute. Hold it. Well, Seabass is in the house. Good evening, Seabass. How you doing? Vote for the whore and see what happens. I got a joke later on the show related to that, so hold that thought. Oh, goodness. All right. With that, let's start with a few memes for this evening. And I bet you my good friend WWG1 here has brought a few more with him. But give me a second here. Let me see what all he... Oh, my goodness. WWG1, you are just awful. I am finding these things right now and just, oh, my word. Oh, my God. You are just positively awful. Normally, I would disavow, but these are just too funny. I can't do it. What else have we got? That third one, yeah, a little Die Hard reference there. Whoo, man, I tell you what, I don't even know what to do for the intro joke on that one. What do we got here? Oh, okay, this looks interesting. All right, we'll check that out here in a little bit. All right, let us move through the merry memes because we got quite a few things to talk about. You know, everybody's been trying to figure out exactly how to describe the relationship between the citizens of the United States and the government of the United States, particularly one particular department of the government of the United States, and that is FEMA. Well, I think some young wag put together what I think may be the best description of the relationship between the citizenry and FEMA. And you know what? I got to tell you something. I really cannot disagree with this one. I really can't. There's a lot of truth in that one. There is a lot of truth in that one. So, you know, a lot of truth indeed. Much truth indeed. So there you go. The relationship between the American citizenry and FEMA. TBA over on Rumble says, you cannot disavow anything WWG1 sends tonight. He's been working diligently in finding good stuff for your show. Now, I will not disavow, and he's been gracious enough to provide. So I will, as a good host, share what that provocateur has provided. So, don't worry, TBA. I'm gonna be fair here. Oh, goodness. All right. What else have we got going on? The other day, you might have noticed that one state in the South decided to change their name in an effort to try to get more speedy and more rapid response from the federal government in terms of trying to get aid to their state. Well, apparently that idea is catching on, and a lot of different states in the South are doing much the same. So with that, here is a new map of the southern United States. I mean, I don't know, guys. This might catch on. I mean, you've got West Israel, somewhere that's not in the United States. We have the state of Israel on our own shores, no less. We have North Ukraine, South Ukraine, North Lebanon, and Georgia, the one near Ukraine. So that's pretty good. That's not bad. I don't know, guys. There might be something to this. It might work out. Just saying. The government and the people is like Ike and Tina. Ooh. Dark, but accurate. Sadly. I have to cool my temper. I keep throwing my drink across the lawn, and it leaves spots in the grass. What the heck are you drinking, Seabass, that you're leaving spots in the green grass? I don't know. Somebody needs to check out the inside of his cup. I'm just saying. Eesh. Zippy over on Rumble says, government never saw a citizen they liked. Cut twice, measure once. Brother, you ain't wrong about that. WWG1 says, hit me again, Ike. This time put some stank on it. Oh, my Lord. Oh, my God. Y'all are just awful. Just plain awful. Anyway, what else do we have in the Merry Meme section? Well, we have one that's been provided by Gypsy. And this one's pretty cute, I have to admit. And very thought-provoking, might I add. So, I'm just going to leave this one right up here. It's pretty good. I gotta say, Gypsy, you are a woman of discerning taste. I lift a glass in your general direction. There you go. That is pretty good. There ain't no doubt about that. Let's see. What else do we have in the way of the Merry Memes this evening? Oh, we have one courtesy of the boys of the Babylon Bee. And if y'all have spent any time on the internet and y'all know anything about the boys from the Babylon Bee, they have the uncanny ability to state with perfect irony the gist of the situation. And they nailed it with this one. Absolutely nailed it. I don't know. I don't know how that phone call is going to work out. I don't know how the governor is going to call Zelensky and ask for $100 billion of our money. But apparently, Governor Roy Cooper thinks this is going to work out to his benefit. I don't know. We'll see. We will see. Yeah, but again, compliments of the boys of the Babylon Bee. And that is a sad but pretty accurate meme, if I do say so myself. All right, what else do we have here? I found this one today, and this one's great. Matter of fact, before I even share this one, I gotta drop this in chat. I'm going to drop it on both sides. And this is one you ought to share around to your friends, particularly guys and gals who are Trump haters. Because this, and I'm being serious about this. I'm being serious with what I'm about to say. This one is actually pretty thought-provoking. If you've got a friend that's a Democrat or a lefty, or they just hate Trump in general or whatever, this one will make you think. And with that, when your hate is so focused on one man that you ignore the path the Democratic Party has put you on, there's Trump, there's you, there's the ledge. Like I say, that one is pretty daggone thought-provoking. Pretty daggone thought-provoking. That's not bad. Like I said, I found this one. I think M169. Oh, by the way, M169. I know what your real name is, and out of respect to you, I have not used it on the live stream. To make it a little more personal, do you care if I use your first name? If you don't want me to, that's perfectly fine. But I just feel like M1. It makes you sound like a Borg. Just saying. I mean, if you don't want me to, that's cool. I won't do it. But I've been thinking about asking you about that. And since it's on my mind, I thought I'd drop the question. Do you care if I use your first name? If not, just let me know in chat. It's all good. Either way. Now Zippy's dropped something. I'm scared. I am scared. Zippy, I saw it. Don't worry. I saw it. Oh, Kamala's let them eat cake. Oh, okay. I think I know the one you're talking about, but yeah, we'll share it. Okay. So Lana, am I saying that correctly? Or Lana? Or how do you pronounce this? Because I understand the spelling is Lana. Okay. All right. Oh, it's let them eat cake. All right, we'll see. We got a Zippygram. Yes. Yeah, coming from Zippy, I get a little much like most of the wing nuts. I get a little bit nervous, but I know Zippy is a gentleman of discerning good taste. So there you go. All right. What else do we have in the way of merry memes? Oh, it's not a Zippygram. It's a Kittygram. All right. Oh. Hey. The next two I've got are actually pretty good. And it's this one to me is old school political cartoon. It's in the form of a meme, but to me, it's just that good. And let me pop this one up here. Here's poor old Joe Biden way back at the start finish line. And here's Kamala running her, just sweating like a hooker. Okay, maybe that wasn't the best analogy that I could have used there. Okay, all right. I retract. I disavow the sweating like a hooker comment. And she's just sweating hard. Okay, and Trump, he is high hurdling over an indictment and a conviction and an assassination attempt, and he's running that 24 election lane. There you go. That was pretty good when I found that one. What else do we have here in the way of the merry memes? Okay. Man, people are sending me stuff. Yes, I disavow the sweating like a hooker line. I disavow. Absolutely. Kamala would never sweat like a hooker. She might be perspiring like a hoe, but she never sweat like a hooker. Just saying. Oh, let's see. All right. People are sending me DMs. Good Lord, what is all this? Heavens to Murgatroyd. Ruben just sent me some. Oh, that looked good. Oh, yeah. Ruben, I'm going to save that for a little bit later in the show because actually I've got that clip pulled up. So I saw it. We're saving that one for a little later, my brother. But yeah, I got you covered. Okay, so you're saying, perspiring like a hoe is even worse. Okay, that could be. All right. Well, let's just say she is how shall I say? She is excreting moisture. How about that? Does that make it any better? I mean, I don't know. What do the kids say these days? I have no idea. Sweating like a whore in church. Well, now that's there you go. Okay. All right. Let's see. Now, WWG1 sent me a few of them. So to be fair, I will show these. Now, everybody is by now has seen the picture of Kamala Harris on the airplane with the earbuds in, and she's sitting there writing down some paper, but no one as yet has been able to figure out what it is that she was writing. Well, WWG1 thinks he's come up with an answer, or at least what he thinks is an answer, or maybe it's a picture taken of the paper. I don't know. WWG1. What was your source on this one? That's what I want to know. I mean, for heaven's sake, who took this picture? I mean, was it somebody on her campaign staff and they shared it around? I mean, do we really know that Kamala drew this? I mean, how do we know? I'm just saying. You know, but anyway, WWG1 shares this one. I pass it along to you. There you go. WWG. Oh, so you have moles in the campaign. Well, ladies and gentlemen, you know, you've heard of the spies for the electronic front porch. Apparently, WWG1 has moles inside her campaign. There you go. TBA says that picture was drawn by her own staff. Could be. All right, let's see what else. This one is more of a philosophical question, but I think a very fair one. And I'll just leave this right here. I will say this, WWG1, you're not wrong, my friend. You're not wrong. Oh, maybe that picture was drawn by, maybe it was a picture drawn of her staff. I don't know. You might, there's lots of speculation about where that picture came from. I'm just saying. Now, much has been made of Democrat efforts to, how shall we say, fortify our election returns in 2024. Much to the chagrin, and when I say fortify, I'm sure you know what I'm referring to. Wink, wink, nudge, nudge. So how are we to respond to this? Well, some people in New York City apparently have taken matters in their own hands, and they are letting everybody know exactly what they think of the idea of, you know, election fortification or rigging, as it's commonly called. And I don't know, man. You walk around with this sign in certain parts of New York City, and this is liable to get your butt beat. I don't care if you're a Democrat or a Republican. If you walk around with a sign that says, "I hate riggers," that's got the potential to get real bad real fast. Like I said, doesn't matter if you're in the Bronx or Queens or Brooklyn. I don't care. You walk around, or Harlem, you walk around with this sign, this could get something started. And I don't know about you guys, but this guy looks like he's wanting to get beat up. I'm just saying. Oh, goodness. Yeah, for those of you who are diehard fans, you will know exactly where that one came from. Now, one last thing, and then we'll get to the news of the night. WWG1 has found something, and for those of you who keep waiting for karma or the almighty or whatever to come upon those that are not supporting Trump, or maybe better to say they're supporting the regime, well, WWG1 thinks he's found an example of what it will be like when a Trump hater gets a dose of karma. So with that, we play the following.
This is going to be great.
This is so ridiculous. You realize that, right?
No, it's not. Fuck Trump. That's what I say.
I know, but I hate Trump too, Chad. But you don't see me out here destroying property. It's probably illegal.
You know what's a fucking crime? To have a fucking Trump ban sign.
Oh my God.
In the main line.
I can't believe you said that. wrong with you?
Oh, what is that? Oh my God.
What is that?
Oh my God.
Uh-oh, this is not looking good, folks.
Oh, that's just great.
Not looking good at all. What's going on here?
What happened?
Oh my God. Ah!
What?
These fucking people. They're fucking assholes.
I have to get to work. Don't tell me you got a flat.
Look what they did.
Oh, boy.
Fucking assholes.
Well,
That is great. Yeah, that'll teach all you Harris Walz people to be doing that to Trump signs. Indeed, it is. Yeah, there you go. Oh my goodness. Yeah, I bet he feels like a genius. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, they licked lead paint as children. Absolutely, they did. Well, that's a good point, Zippy. She did marry him. Honey, I don't know what to tell you. It was for better or worse, and you're now getting the worse. Lord have mercy. WWG1, thank you for all those, my friend. We genuinely appreciate it. All right, let's get to the topics I kind of picked to talk about tonight. And as you all know, when we come back from the weekend, there's usually things that have happened on the Sunday shows. And one of them is, interestingly enough, and I was surprised when he announced that he would do this. Governor Tim Walz, Kamala Harris's running mate, went on Fox News Sunday with Shannon Bream. Okay. Now, I've got some thoughts about this, and I've got a few clips. I think you're going to understand when you watch these 2 or 3 clips I've got put together why it is that Kamala Harris will never, ever go on a show like Fox News Sunday. Okay. And basically it gets down to this, and that is, for the first time ever in this whole campaign, finally somebody stood up. Oh yeah, he went on Fox News. She didn't. And I've got another thought about that when we get done here in a minute. But yeah, he went on Fox News. For the first time in this whole campaign, finally, somebody, I hate using the term fact check. Finally, somebody countered the misinformation and narratives and out lies that Kamala and Tim have been spewing, regardless of what media appearance you're talking about. And the interesting thing about it is, it was done in such a way, it wasn't mean, it wasn't nasty, very, very forceful, but not rude. Which is one among many reasons why I don't work on network news. Not that I would be rude, but I'm not sure I would, that I could slice and dice somebody the way Shannon Bream chopped up Tim Walz. And let me also say something about Shannon Bream, okay? And this is not meant as an insult, by the way, at all. But to look at Shannon Bream or to listen to her when she's speaking, you would not think that she is a stone cold killer of an interviewer. Okay. Tucker Carlson, yes. Megyn Kelly, absolutely. There's a handful of people on the major on other networks that I think I was like, ooh, I can't wait till this guy or this gal gets a hold of this person. But looking at Shannon Bream or listening to her, you wouldn't think that. Okay? You would not think that at all. But I'm telling you right now, she sliced and diced Tim Walz up into fine little pieces of meat. And if you don't believe me, I've got a clip here. It runs about 2.5 minutes. But I want you to listen to the way she takes it right to him, okay? And this is mostly on the topic of abortion, all right? And this has been one of the bugaboos of the Democrats for this whole campaign. Trump's wrong. Trump overturned Roe v. Wade. Women are endangered. Yada, yada, yada. Oh, yeah? Take a listen to what Shannon Bream does to this guy. And with that, here we go.
I want to clarify what the law is there in Minnesota. Abortion Finder, a website that helps women find access, says abortion is legal throughout pregnancy in Minnesota. There is no ban or limit on abortion in Minnesota based on how far along in a pregnancy you are. You signed the bill that makes it legal through all 9 months. Is that a position you think Democrats should advocate for nationally?
Look, the vice president and I have been clear. The restoration of Roe versus Wade is what we're asking for.
But that law goes far beyond Roe v. Wade.
To make.
Now, listen to what she did right there. Well, we're talking about the restoration of Roe v. Wade, and Shannon Bream instantly turned it on him. No, sir. We're talking about a law that goes far beyond Roe v. Wade. Okay? And it doesn't get any better for Tim Walz from here. And with that, back to the interview.
The law is very clear. It does not change that. That was been debunked on every occasion.
But wait. Let's agree. What you signed is there's not a single limit through 9 months of pregnancy. Roe had a trimester framework that did have limits through the pregnancy. The Minnesota law does not have that.
This puts the decision with the woman and her healthcare providers. The situation we have is when you don't have the ability of healthcare providers to provide that, that's where you end up with a situation like Amanda Zaworski in Texas, where they are afraid to do what's necessary. This doesn't change anything. It puts the decision back on to the woman, to the physicians. And we know that this is simply something to be brought up to be very clear. Donald Trump's asking for a nationwide abortion ban.
Wait, he
and
has
again,
said that
we don't see this
he has
as a
said
winning
repeatedly
campaign.
that he will not sign a national abortion ban. Are you calling that just, it's a flat out lie?
Again, are you watching what she's doing right here? She's not being mean. She's not being snarky. She's not being anything else. He drops the whole Donald Trump wants a national abortion ban, and instantly Shannon Bream pushes right back on it. Now, let me be clear about something here. I'm not necessarily here to praise Shannon Bream or say she's a bad TV personality or whatever, okay? That's not my point. My point is that for the first time throughout this thing, and I can think of maybe, well, there was Bill Whitaker on 60 Minutes the other night, but we'll get to that in a minute. But outside of Shannon Bream and Bill Whitaker, I can't think of anybody else that's done to Tim Walz and Kamala Harris what's being done right now. This is the first time you actually see it happening. TBH says, I'm waiting for the slicing and dicing. Okay, maybe I chose the wrong way of phrasing it, but what I'm getting at is she's pushing back on this guy. She's basically pushing him and saying, no, sir, that's not correct. You're not answering my question. On. You'll see a little bit more of this as we go. With that, we'll continue.
Yes, of course. And Senator Vance has in the past said so too. Now, look, they may see this as an election issue. We see it as a right of women to make their own bodily decisions. And that's what the states like my state have the ability to put that in. States like Georgia force women to cross the border, and then we have a death of Amber Thurman. So let's be very clear. Trying to cut hairs on an issue on this is not where the American public's at. They want the restoration of Roe versus Wade. Vice President Harris said she would sign it. That's what we'll do when we're elected.
But to be clear, the Minnesota law is far beyond Roe v. Wade. And about the Amber Thurman case in Georgia, her family has, and it's tragic. She is.
Now listen to this. Remember, Tim Walz loves to drop names. Oh, this Amber Thurman case in Georgia. This was terrible. This was terrible. Oh, yeah? Has anybody told you guys, or anybody else for that matter, what the Amber Thurman case basically involved? If not, get ready, because for this clip, here comes the coup de grace.
Is a young mother who left behind a young son. But what her family has said is it was a complication from an abortion pill that she received, and she didn't get proper care when she went to a Georgia hospital, which had multiple opportunities to intervene there. Her own attorney, the family's attorney, says it wasn't the Georgia law, it was the hospitals, what he claims is malpractice, not treating her when she clearly showed up in distress and still had the byproducts of her pregnancy because of that rare complication from the abortion pill. So just to be clear on the Georgia law and how her family and her attorney sees it. I want to clarify.
Okay, like I said, TBA. I'll give you. Maybe I overstated what it is, but for the first time, these two jugheads, Tim Walz and Kamala Harris, finally, some journalist is like, no, that's not true. Here are the facts in question. No, that's not correct. Here's what is Donald Trump actually said. No. Finally, somebody's like, no, you don't do that in front of us. You don't do it. Now, this would be very interesting. Went on a Fox. Well, it was Fox News Sunday. Let me be very clear. But yeah, if Waters or Gutfeld or even Hannity's a pansy. Hannity would not be able to do. Hannity would not be able to do what Shannon Bream just did. And she did it with a smile. Well, not quite a smile, but almost a smile on her face. Now, Seabass, hang on to this thought because you're almost where I'm going with this. I don't know that I'd call him a patsy, but I'm going to say something when we get done with these clips that might surprise you when it comes to my thoughts about Tim Walz going on Fox News. On Robert Gouveia this morning, Walz may have squashed Amber's malpractice suit. Very weird. Interesting. Very interesting indeed. Yeah, you ain't wrong there. You ain't wrong there, my friend. WWG1 over on Rumble says, all the Supreme Court did was say that abortion had nothing to do with the federal government and pushed it back to the states. Exactly. That's why I get bent out of shape when Lindsey Graham, decides to come out of his drunken stupor long enough to say, we need a 15-week national ban on abortion. Shut up, Lindsey. Shut up. Ugh. Somebody take that old drunk and just get him sauced and just keep him quiet for a while, please, for the love of God. Ugh. Anyway, got one or two more clips. Oh, okay. Yeah, we got another one here. This one has to do with immigration and the border bill. And again, pushing back, narrative destroying, I hate to use this term, fact checking him in real time. And again, this one has to do with the border wall. Check it out.
Has made it clear that she has policies that make a difference. Her border policies are the most strongest, the fairest we've seen.
But now, Governor, a lot of people, including your own party, would not join that statement.
I love that. Now, Governor, you know that many in your party would not join you on that statement. I say this, Shannon, is just, look at that look on her face. Just look at this. It's like, really, Governor? Really? You're going to try and say that in front of me? Anyway, sorry, folks. It just is too good. Now, Governor, you know that most Democrats would not join you on that statement. And if you're wondering why, here's her reasoning.
There are millions of people who have come here over the last few years that, they see this as an open policies. Border.
Well, simply, we have a policy. Donald Trump sees it as a political. Look, James Langford in Oklahoma, the Border Patrol agents, the Wall Street.
Hang on.
Journal, the Chamber of Commerce, all said pass this legislation. You have to have Congress to authorize 1,500 new border agents. You have to have Congress to authorize DOJ to speed adjudications on these asylum claims. Those are things that would actually work. Donald Trump told us for 4 years he would deal with this. He didn't. He didn't build his wall, 2%. Mexico didn't pay for it. This is a real bill that has bipartisan support. It has the experts on board, and it starts to tackle these issues. And we don't have to resort to demonizing people. We don't have to resort to making up or crafting stories, as Senator Vance said he did. Those things were not happening in Springfield, but it doesn't mean that we can't pass a piece of legislation to strengthen our border. That's what Kamala Harris is talking about.
Well,
She's talking
Governor,
about solving the problem.
Here it comes, folks. Check this out.
That piece of legislation does include the wall that you guys have been so, you've disparaged that. I mean, the vice president has as well. So I don't know if she really intends to move forward with that. But it was negotiated by 3 or 4 senators, and many Republicans came out against it long before President Trump indicated he didn't like it either.
like I say, folks, this visit did not go well. Did not go well at all. Now, wait a second. What is this piece of news? Thought you would have already been gloating about your state's election bill in the news today. What is this? Hang on. What is my beloved West Virginia done? Hang on a minute. I had not heard about this yet. West Virginia election bill. What the heck has the Mountain State done that I haven't heard about this? What's going on here? Hang on. There's one other place that I can check this out really quick. Metro News. WV.com. Hang on a minute. Sorry, folks. This I got to check out. Whoop. Hang on. What has my state done? Okay, I am not finding this real fast. Gypsy, do me a favor. Tag me in it. I want to see this. I'm not saying it's probably something I have not seen yet, but thank you. Thank you for letting me know. One more clip from Tim Walz. And like I say, this visit to Fox News did not go well, but I'm going to say something when this is done, and you might be surprised at my reaction. All right, I'm going to let this one go without interruption. Here it is.
Republicans came out against it long before President Trump indicated he didn't like it either. Listen, before we go, because I wish that we had a full hour, I want to give you a chance, because you called yourself a knucklehead this week, to talk about some of your misstatements. Yes. You've modified your story or explained that you misspoke about things involving your military rank, about carrying a weapon in war, your 1995 DUI arrest, using IVF to have your beautiful children, Gus and Hope, being in Hong Kong and China in the summer of 1989 during the Tiananmen events. A lot of people would say they couldn't get away with saying, I'm just too passionate, my grammar's not right, I'm a knucklehead. What do you say to the American people who think, I don't know that I can trust this guy with all those modifications to be the potential commander-in-chief of this country?
Yeah, well, I think they heard me. They heard me the other night speaking passionately about gun violence and misspeaking. And I got to be honest with you, Shannon, I don't think people care whether I used IUI or IVF when we talk about this. What they understand is Donald Trump would resist those things. Look, I speak passionately. I had an entire career, decades before I was in public office. They know, and I'm very proud of my 24 years in service and my record. I have never disparaged someone else in this, but I know that's not what Donald Trump does. They disparage everyone, the personal attacks. I will own up when I misspeak. I will own up when I make a mistake. Let's be very clear.
Yeah, but see, there's a difference between misspeaking and just out and out misrepresenting, Tim. And you've been doing a lot of misrepresenting. That's the problem. Most people would call that lying, but I wouldn't be quite so crass enough to do that. Yeah, and they need to be called out. Each bill they're clamoring on vetoing, it was an omnibus. Yep, very true. Very true indeed, my friend. Now, here's where I'm going to say something that might surprise all of you. I got to give Tim Walz a lot of credit here. Now, don't get me wrong. Let me explain. I don't agree with much, if anything, he said. If nothing else, he had one more platform to be able to spew just out and out lies. You know, Donald Trump wants a national ban on abortion. That's a lie. Donald Trump's done this. Just whatever. But I give Tim Walz credit for this. Tim Walz went on Fox News. Thank you, ma'am. I do appreciate that. We'll take a look at that here momentarily. Yeah, I give him credit. Somebody from this campaign finally sat down for an interview with a journalist that wasn't going to throw him a bunch of softballs and wasn't going to, kiss their rear end or anything else. Shannon Bream, with grace, with tact, but with firmness, pushed back on Tim Walz, pushed back on his comments, pushed back on the narratives. And I would argue, I will use the term slice and dice, although that language may be disagreed with. And that's fine. But she did so in such a way that finally somebody called him out on it. Now, and like I said, I don't agree with a thing Tim Walz was saying, but he went into the proverbial lion's den. And frankly, for a Democrat to go on Fox News is not that dangerous to their political health. Although they've made Fox News out to be the boogeyman, so that if they go and do an interview on Fox News Sunday or anywhere else, they think that they've accomplished a major thing. They think that they've sat down with Edward R. Murrow or Cronkite or David Brinkley, or just name a legendary journalist. Their fear and loathing of Fox News has been elevated to such a degree that if they actually do an interview with anybody from that network, oh my God, it was the toughest interview of my life. Give me a break. Fox News, no disrespect to Shannon Bream, Fox News is milquetoast. Let Tim Walz sit down with, I don't know, pick the journalist. Let him sit down with Viva Free. Let him sit down, hell, I'll even give him Tim Pool. Although sometimes Tim can be even kind of milquetoast. Okay? Let him sit down with some, social media content creator for an interview and watch what happens. He thinks Fox News is bad, but at least he went in there and did it. Now, in light of that, I have a question. And this is not meant with any kind of BS. It's not meant with anything else. This is what I think is a very legitimate question. If Kamala Harris and Tim Walz were to go on to become the president and the vice president of the United States, is what we saw here an example of what Kamala Harris's leadership is going to be? Let me ask that question again. Is Tim Walz going on to Fox News an example of what Kamala Harris's leadership style is going to be like? Well, what are you talking about, Brian? Let me break it down to you this way. Everybody has been clamoring. Kamala Harris has got to do a tough an interview. That's a tough sit-down interview. She's got to be willing to face the fire. Well, excuse me, she didn't face the fire. She sent Tim Walz in to do it. So here's what I'm getting at. If they wind up being elected president and vice president of the United States, is this what it's going to be? Hey, Tim, that one looks pretty tough. Why don't you take that one and I'll go over here and do the foo-foo stuff. I'll go on call me daddy. I'll go on with The View, which, by the way, she's planning on doing that later on this week. I'll go on with Stephen Colbert or Jimmy Kimmel. You take that interview with Alex Jones. You go right ahead. You go out. You take that interview with Tim Pool. Yeah. Jesse Waters from Fox News wants you. Wait a minute, he said he wants you. Well, that one looks kind of tough. You take that one, Tim. That's the job of the vice president. You get the dirty jobs. You see what I'm getting at? Now, some people are going to listen to my question and my examples. Oh, that's crazy. That's small potatoes. She wouldn't do that. Really? She just did it right here. She sent her number 2 man into Fox News to do an interview with them that she otherwise would not have done herself. Don't tell me Shannon Bream or other hosts at Fox News have not reached out to the Harris Walz campaign and said, hi, my name is fill in the blank from Fox News. I'd like to schedule an interview with Kamala Harris. And you know what they're getting? Phone's ringing. Ain't nobody picking up on that one. They're looking at the caller ID and says Jesse Ward, like, screw that, we ain't answering that phone. But this is, to me, this is a perfect example. This is a perfect example of what her leadership style is going to be. I'm going to delegate off the tough stuff, and I'll go do the stuff that's fun and foo-foo, and, I can, sit around and laugh and cackle. And, we'll let Tim do this. He was in the Army. We'll let him do it. And WWG1 brings up a really good point. Richard Nixon showed up on Laugh-In, for heaven's sake, back in 1968. And that was the last place you would have ever thought you would have found Richard Nixon. That man almost had no sense of humor, at least in the opinion of some. But yeah, then that's what made Richard Nixon going on laughing so daggone funny. The legendary, suck it to me, that's what made it so daggone funny. But Kamala's not going on Fox News. Kamala's not sitting down with a serious interviewer. And when I show you the schedule of stuff that she's got lined up this week, the supposed Blitz, you're gonna want to puke. I'm serious. Yeah, that's about the truth. That is about the truth. She couldn't organize a care package. Yeah. Wow. Ugh, the poor cat. Ugh. I would make a comment about Howard Stern's tongue, but never mind. I'm not going to do it. I will disavow even my own comment. But yeah, I mean, and like I say, I give Tim Walz a lot of credit. He at least went on Fox. That's more than I can say for Kamala. Okay, I disavow. It's funny, but true. Yeah, I mean, TBA over on Rumble says Donald Trump did the chicken dance on SNL. Exactly. I mean, these guys are, willing to, look, regardless of what you think of Tim Walz, like I said, give the guy credit. He at least went on Fox News. Donald Trump has done stuff over the years, either for theatrical purposes or good humor or whatever to make fun of himself. You ain't seeing Kamala Harris do it. But that said, Kamala Harris did sit down with Bill Whitaker from 60 Minutes. And, oh, God, this thing was a disaster. This thing was an absolute disaster. Let me find the one clip I'm looking for to start it out. Oh, goodness. Where is it? Hang on, guys. I had this thing lined. Yeah. Here it is. I think this is exactly the one I'm looking for. Oh, yeah, here it is. Okay. So Kamala Harris sits down with Bill Whitaker of 60 Minutes. Now, got to be fair. Whitaker can do a tough interview. Not that I've watched a lot of his stuff over the years, but he can do a pretty good interview. And Kamala gets asked a question, which right now is extremely relevant. She gets asked about the United States' relationship with Israel and why it is we don't seem to have any sway over the actions of Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu when it comes to prosecuting this war between the Israelis and Hamas, which has now escalated out into a regional war. No one's calling it that, but that's what it is. So Kamala gets this question from Bill Whitaker of 60 Minutes, and it's a pretty good question. Her answer is anything less than inspiring. With that, here you go.
We supply Israel with billions of dollars in military aid. Mm-hmm. And yet Prime Minister Netanyahu seems to be charting his own course. The Biden-Harris administration has pressed him to agree to a ceasefire. He's resisted. You urged him not to go into Lebanon. He went in anyway. He has promised to make Iran pay for the missile attack, and that has the potential of expanding the war. Does the U.S. have no sway over Prime Minister Netanyahu?
Okay, now, whether you like him or dislike him, that's a fair question. It's like, look, we're giving them billions of dollars every year. You guys are trying to get him to act in a certain way. The money, unspokenly, in the back of that question is the unspoken statement, hey, the money ought to give us some leverage, but for some reason we can't get any leverage on this guy. Why is it that you guys can't get him to do what you guys would like to see him do? That's a fair question. With that, listen to her answer.
The aid that we have given Israel allowed Israel to defend itself against 200 ballistic missiles that were just meant to attack the Israelis and the people of Israel. And when we think about the threat that Hamas, Hezbollah presents, Iran, I think that it is without any question, are imperative to do what we can to allow Israel to defend itself against those kinds of attacks. Now, the work that we do diplomatically with the leadership of Israel is an ongoing pursuit around making clear our principles, which include the need for humanitarian aid, the need for this war to end, the need for a deal to be done, which would release the hostages and create a ceasefire. And we're not going to stop in terms of putting that pressure on Israel.
Now, she just took 1 minute to say absolutely nothing. His question was straightforward. Do we not have any? Why can you guys not get him to do what it is you want to do? Do we not have any leverage with this man? Do we not have any pressure to bring to bear on him to stop him from doing some of these things that we don't like being done? And for 1 whole minute, she talks around everything else, will not answer the question directly. So Bill Whitaker decides to push back on this. And here is the rest of the exchange.
Israel and in the region, including Arab leaders.
But it seems that Prime Minister Netanyahu is not listening.
Well, Bill, the work that we have done has resulted in a number of movements in that region by Israel that were very much prompted by or a result of many things, including our advocacy for what needs to happen in the region.
Do we have a real close ally in Prime Minister Netanyahu?
Now listen to this.
I think, with all due respect, the better question is, do we have an important alliance between the American people and the Israeli people? And the answer to that question is yes.
This woman, look, I don't think there's anybody in this audience that plans on voting for Kamala Harris, which, by the way, if you decide to do so, you're complete right. I understand. But can anybody seriously listen to this answer and come away with the feeling that she knows what the hell she's talking about? Really? I mean, look, like I say, if a person chooses to vote for her, that is their choice. I may not agree with them, but I totally respect it. But for those of you that are thinking about voting for Kamala Harris, whether you're in this audience right now or not, I got to ask you one question. Can you really sit there and say to yourself after listening to that non-answer that went on between 2 or 3 questions, can you really sit there and say this woman has a complete grasp of what's going on and how to make things happen in the world? Now, to that end, I got another clip here. And this one goes to the test of, do you know what's going on in the real world, or more appropriately, how it works? Oh, Gypsy, you're absolutely right. You're absolutely right. This woman has no clue, and she's really about to prove it with this next one. This one is, frankly, one of the best clips that I found that proves this woman has no understanding whatsoever of how things truly work. And this has to do with the relationship between the Congress and the president. And like I say, when you hear this, this is the does she get it question. Check this out.
My plan is about saying that when you invest in small businesses, you invest in the middle class, and you strengthen America's economy. Small businesses are part of the backbone of America's economy.
Now, look at the look on her face. I'm sorry to interrupt, but I've got to say this. Look at the earnestness. But when we invest in small businesses, we're proving that we understand the backbone of America. It's like, I hate to put it this way, it's like she's a child trying to convince you why you need to buy her a new toy. Look, I mean, seriously, I mean, I understand earnestness in a politician. I get that. But there is almost a palpable level of desperation with this woman. I mean, I know it only runs 15 seconds, but I want to play this back for a minute. Watch this. I mean, seriously, it is almost palpable desperation that she's trying to convince you that her position is the one you ought to be for. Listen to this.
My plan is
Yeah,
about
look.
saying that when you invest in small businesses, you invest in the middle class, and you strengthen America's economy. Small businesses are part of the backbone of America's economy.
But pardon me, Madam Vice President, the question was, how are you going to pay for it?
Now, that's a fair question, because she's been promising everything under the sun. I'm going to give $25,000 here and $6,000 there and da 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 da. How are you going to pay for it? Reasonable question. Okay. Here you go. Here's her answer.
Well, one of the things is I'm going to make sure that the richest among us who can afford it pay their fair share in taxes.
In taxes? I'm going to make the rich pay their fair share in taxes. Listen to the pit. I mean, I'm sorry to nitpick this, but I can't help it. Listen to her. I'm going to make sure that the richest among us who can afford it are going to pay their fair share in taxes. And Bill Whitaker, to his credit, is having none of this nonsense.
It is not right that teachers and nurses and firefighters are paying a higher tax rate than billionaires and the biggest corporations. I plan
here it comes
on making that fair.
But we're dealing with the real world here.
But the real world includes...
How are you going to get this through Congress?
Madam Vice President, we're dealing with the real world here. How are you going to get through this through Congress? Whitaker, you may be a little bit of a lefty, but I give you credit on this one. And here's her answer.
You know, when you talk quietly with a lot of folks in Congress, they know exactly what I'm talking about, because their constituents know exactly what I'm talking about. Their constituents are those firefighters and teachers and nurses. My plan.
You can talk to them all you want to, honey, but unless you can get the Congress to go along with it, it ain't going nowhere. And 60 Minutes, by the way, is at least semi-friendly. I mean, like I said, I give Bill Whitaker credit, you know, for the clips that I have seen so far, and I will freely admit I have not watched the whole interview. But if this is any indication of how that interview went, it's a disaster. It's an absolute disaster. But this may be the toughest interview that she does this week. If you don't believe me, let me show you something real fast. This is what she's got lined up for the rest of the week as far as media appearances. She's going on The View. She's going on Howard Stern's show tomorrow. She's going on The Late Show with Stephen Colbert. She's going on Univision. She's been on Call Her Daddy. And I've even got a clip from the Call Her Daddy, which, you know, which will just make your head want to spin. This is what she considers the media blitz. Okay? This is a joke. In a real universe, this woman would be laughed out of the room. And should be. She is unserious, unprepared. She is a joke of a candidate. But because the mainstream media and the Democrats and a whole bunch of people with money are trying to manufacture joy, this is the idiocy we have to deal with. I'm not going to say she's the worst candidate that I've ever seen in my life, but daggone if she doesn't come close. Now, Robert, I can absolutely agree with this. They're trying to play both sides now because they are, could be. Yeah, which sort of goes, and I haven't got it pulled up, but did you guys see that SNL clip over the weekend with Maya Rudolph doing a Kamala Harris bit where they're talking about, you know, I really wish I'd have picked Josh, and the guy playing Doug Emhoff says, "Oh, you mean Josh Shapiro?" No, Josh the Cabernet Sauvignon. That's got to be one of the funniest things I've seen SNL do in years. I think it was Gypsy over the weekend who said somebody gave SNL permission to be funny. I agree with that. Wholeheartedly agree with that. Dems attack, yet affluent voters have swung to them over the. Yeah, that's kind of. Yeah. Yeah, very true. Over on Rumble. Oh yeah. That had to be one of the funniest bits I've seen in ages. I mean, when SNL really wants to, SNL can be really funny. They've still got the capability. They just don't let themselves do it anymore. At least in my opinion. Okay. Not that I'm the final judge on what is funny in America. But when SNL really wants to cut loose, they can absolutely put something together that's hysterical. TBA says, if SNL's making fun of Harris, then Harris is finished. I am encouraging you guys. Like I said, I have not got it pulled up, but I am encouraging you guys. Go find that SNL clip this weekend. It's actually it revolves around Kamala Harris and her husband Doug Emhoff as he's wearing his wife beater T-shirt. Oh, did I say that out loud? As they're watching the Tim Walz JD Vance debate, and there are parts of that skit that are just absolutely funny. Oh my goodness, it is funny. Yeah. Absolutely hysterical. But I've got a clip. Got a couple. I think I've got just one from the Call Me Daddy podcast, which by the way, just to give you an idea of how badly received Kamala's appearance is, this is the YouTube. This is like, this one thing I'm about to show you is like a 7-minute clip. And I'm not going to show you the 7-minute clip, but my point is this. There's one clip out on the Call Her Daddy channel on YouTube. It's like a 7-minute clip. Let me show you what I'm getting at here. There we go. This clip is like 7.5 minutes. It's not the one we're going to watch, but look at this. This thing is getting ratioed right out of the room. Only like 9,000 likes to like 28,000 dislikes on 250, over 250,000 views. She might have thought she was getting some friendly media out of this. No one is receiving this well. Nobody. Okay. But anyway, she goes on the Call Her Daddy podcast. And she gets asked a question. Now, guys, I have said that you are the smartest audience on the internet. I stand by that statement. I absolutely affirm that statement. And you're about to prove it. I want you to listen to the question that she's asked, and then I want to hear your answers in chat, because I guarantee you can come up with a better answer than Kamala Harris. And with that, here's the clip.
I want to pose this question more to you and the Daddy Gang, but one of the biggest conversations in this year's election revolves around a woman's body.
Yep.
I want to take a moment, and can we try to think of any law that gives the government the power to make a decision.
I know what you're going to ask.
About a man's body. Let's
No.
Is there any law?
No.
It's
No.
No, there's no law that makes any decision about what a man can do with his own body. Okay, Fedora Nation. Prove to the internet that you are the smartest audience in the world. Is there any law on the books that says what a man can or cannot do with his own body? Or maybe not even law. Let's just take it down to the question of policy. I can think of 2 right off the top of my head. Yeah, small time, you're already there. Midmo, you're already there. Anybody else? TBA's chiming in over there on the Rumble side. Yeah, come on, bring it on, guys. Bring it on. Because you guys can answer this question, and pardon my language, the dumbass that's running for president has no clue, apparently. WWG1 says, no. Sounds like yes. At least when it comes to Kamala. Yep, you guys are absolutely on the money. How about the jab? Maybe not a law, but it was definitely policy. Military draft, yep. Selective service, absolutely. Yep. This is how much of an idiot. This is, yeah. Oh, that's a good point too. After you're drafted, guess what? They can make you shave the hair on your head, and they're going to, by George. That's control over a man's body, is it not? What if he doesn't want to get his head shaved? Well, there you go. Or here's one even worse than that: forced vaccines in the military. They're compelling you twice. Oh, this woman is just a blithering idiot. I got one more clip from this call your daddy podcast. And now I apologize in advance. I would have loved to have found this without the schmaltzy music in the background. Somebody on TikTok did this. So my apologies in advance. WWG1 is, this is my rifle. This is my gun. One is for fun. Okay, I'm having flashbacks to Full Metal Jacket when I hear that line. I'm just saying. Oh, Gypsy, I just saw that, darling. When we get through with this clip, we need a palate cleanser. Okay, that might be a good one. So, like I say, please ignore the schmaltzy music in the background, okay? But Kamala is asked, why did you choose to come on my podcast? Okay? Now, laying aside the schmaltzy music in the background on this TikTok video, the imagery that you're going to see versus the words coming out of Kamala's mouth are very powerful. And with that, here you go.
What made you want to do Call Her Daddy today? Well, I think you and your listeners have really got this.
You shouldn't have been there. None of us should have been there.
Communicate with people is to be real, you know, and to talk about the things that people really care about. Our show is really about your listeners. And I think especially now, this is a moment in the country and in life where people really want to know they're seen and heard and that they're part of a community.
Everything's gone. It's all gone.
And so I'm really glad to be with you.
This is a moment where people want to be seen and heard and know that they're part of a community. You know, you guys are really talking about the things that people care about. As whole houses and towns are washed away. By the way, she recorded this interview on Tuesday of last week when recovery efforts were still going on, and by the way, are still going on. Yeah, that's a good point. That is a really good point. Yeah, let me... Hang on a minute. Is it Vigilant Fox? Hang on, I'm going to try and grab this. Daggone it. This thing does not like me. Vigilant Fox. Okay, hang on. I think I can pull this up another way. Oh yeah, here. Okay, thank you. Just found it. If I were smart, I'd actually do this right. Yeah, talking about SNL. Here's the clip. Here's the clip that is making the rounds. Oh, okay. They can get me for copywriting. I'll take it out later. Fine. But if you want to understand where Kamala's position is right now, if you want to understand where she's at in the zeitgeist of the age, this ought to give you an idea how badly things are going for her. When Saturday Night Live starts making fun of you the way they're making fun of her here, she's in trouble.
Okay, he's out there. He's doing his thing, whatever that may be.
Come on, just relax. You know, you haven't had a night off in 3 months. Do you want to watch something less stressful like the Menendez Brothers show?
I don't know, Dougie. I kind of wish I had picked Josh right now.
Oh, Josh Shapiro?
No, Josh. Cabernet.
Look, Tim will be fine. It's not like he's going to say something crazy.
I've become friends with school shooters.
Okay.
That's great. That is great. Zippy, I saw your Rumble rant. Did you ever post Let Them Eat Cake? Hang on, brother. Yeah, you're right. I'm neglectful, and give me a second here. Zippy, do me a favor. Tag me on Twitter. Tag me on Twitter with this. Sorry, but I'll do it. I just cannot pull it up from inside. I cannot pull it up from inside of my chat. But yeah, tag me on it. Tag me on it, and I'll do it because I told you I would. Oh, I know. So yeah, I mean, and by the way, lest you all think that I'm giving Kamala hell for not one good reason, everybody is noticing she's got a problem with the press right now. Okay. Sent you a few things as well. Didn't know if anything fit your direction. Let me look at them. Sorry about this, guys. Okay, there. Okay. Yep. Just found them. Okay. All right. Zippy's gonna tag me on. All right. Thank you, sir. All right. Yeah. Yep. Definitely worth showing. I'm telling you right now, Kamala has a very elitist attitude, and this meme is absolutely priceless. And it is so true. So true in her case. Yeah. Let them eat cats. Thank you, Zippy. Thank you, sir. Appreciate it. She is. That woman's terrible. Absolutely terrible. Oh, my God. The press is absolutely picking up on the fact that this fact. Yeah. Minmo, let me play these toward the end. But the press is picking up on the fact. Thank you, brother. I appreciate it. The press is picking up on the fact that she's got problems. And you don't believe me, here's an exchange from Meet the Press on Sunday. Andrea Mitchell, longtime correspondent with NBC News, is weighing in on this, and she is spot on with her observations.
Andrea. I think they've got to double down on doing more interviews and serious interviews, because what I'm hearing from Democratic and Republican business people and a lot of men, and she's got such a big problem with men. I think there's an undercount of the Trump vote. I think there is misogynation in all of this.
Oh, misogynation. It's not the fact that she's a dumbass. No, it's the fact that men hate her because she's a woman, don't you know? Of course, Andrea Mitchell would say something like that. We continue.
Black and white men, big problem, but also the business world. They don't think she is serious. They don't think she's a heavyweight. And a lot of this is gender, but she's got to be more specific about her economic plan.
And that's not the only person who's picking up on this. Dana Bash, who has interviewed Kamala Harris on a couple of occasions, was on with a panel, and she is absolutely spot on with her observations as well. Check it out.
And they're not moving the needle.
Exactly.
I mean, this is not me saying this. This is the Harris people privately saying we need to move the needle. It's not moving.
It is a stubborn race, and no one is watching the
and
rallies.
They're not moving the needle.
Exactly.
I mean, this is not me saying this. This is the Harris people privately saying we need to move the needle. It's not moving.
It is a stubborn.
No, it's not stubborn. What's stubborn is Kamala Harris's refusal to sit down with real journalists. I mean, that Bill Whitaker interview on 60 Minutes, maybe the first thing I've seen. I mean, and this is nothing against Dana Bash. I don't think her interview is particularly that good, but I don't necessarily hate Dana Bash. I think Dana Bash can do a really good interview when she wants to, or maybe it's better to say when she's let off the chain. Okay. But the Harris campaign's like, we've got to move the needle. We've got to do something. Okay, then do something. Go out and do a real interview. Get her off of shows like Call Her Daddy or Late Night with Stephen Colbert or Howard Stern. Howard Stern's irrelevant. Howard Stern has been relevant for years. Like, if she really wants to prove her mettle, let her sit down with a Jesse Waters over at Fox. Let her sit down with a Gutfeld. Let her sit down with any social media content creator. Hell, let her sit down with me. There's about 3 or 4 different questions I'd love to ask Kamala Harris. And all of them would be done respectfully. All of them would be done tactfully, but I wouldn't back off 1 inch. And I'm not trying to toot my own horn here, but I'm just saying, if they want to move the needle, it's real easy to do. Start doing some real interviews. Trump is everywhere right now. For good or bad, you can like it, not like it. You can say he's crazy. You can say he shouldn't be sitting down to do an interview with this person or that person. But Trump's out there talking to anybody. Same thing with J.D. Vance. You cannot say that about Kamala Harris and Tim Walz. And like I said, I give Tim Walz a ton of credit. A ton of credit. Tim Walz at least went on Fox News. That's a whole lot more than I can say for Kamala Harris. And Robert, this is a completely valid point. I agree with you. When they try to be serious, it comes off bad. I mean, crap, she goes on this Call Her Daddy podcast, and that thing's getting ratioed into the next area code. Nobody's liking any of her answers. And this is on YouTube. They're ratioing this appearance. Fair point. Fair point. Well, but let me ask you a question, though, Midmo. In all seriousness, there's 29 days left to the election. Let's just assume she went on a genuine press blitz. Let's assume she sat down with Fox News, with Robert Gouveia, or Eric Hunley and his good partner, Lord Buckley. Let's assume she sat down with some real people that could absolutely put her through the meat grinder. Okay? That said, let me ask you this question. Does anybody really think, lay aside the past 5 years, even going back to when she was running for president in 2019, does anybody really think, on the basis of the past August, September, the past 2 months, and let's just say even her 3.5 years as vice president, does anybody really think if she went on a press blitz right now, it really would do her any good? And I'm not trying to be dismissive of the question. I'm really not, but I don't know that it would do her any favors. She can't talk. And the reason she can't talk is she doesn't know what the hell she's talking about. Couldn't really do any interviews with right-wingers without them roasting her into oblivion. She's only going to be in front of people who are going to make her look good. Yeah, but that's the worst part about it, Midmo. I'm not even sure the people who are trying to make her look good are even helping her look good. As the old expression goes, you can't shine a turd. I mean, she's a turd. When it comes to doing an interview, the woman's a turd. Oh, you're being mean to her because she's a woman. No, I'm being mean to her because she doesn't know what the hell she's talking about, and she can't talk when she does try to say something. Now, you can say that's cruel. Somebody can say that's cruel all they want to. That's not being cruel. That's just telling the truth. Robert, I absolutely tend to agree with you. I really do. And I'm not just saying that either. It's too late. I don't know that there's anything that she could do to shake voters' opinions of her. I really don't. Did she pause that long? I mean, I knew it was a long time, but oh goodness. Yeah. You can't get her out in front of the world without a safety net and expect her to effectively sell her products. I agree. Zippy, have a good night, sir. Have a very good night. Oh yeah, the teleprompter goes off and she's stuck. And the proof of that was last week. 32 days. At 32 days. Somebody get this teleprompter going. 32 days. She can't talk. Yeah, or as TBA would say, you can't put lipstick on a pig. It's true. You can't. When you've got nothing to work with, you got nothing to work with. Sorry. Oh, gosh. Now, I said that I am never going to repeat gossip, and that is true. I am never going to repeat gossip. However, I do have another piece of it that I will share, so you better listen close the first time. Remember last week when Joe Biden went out in the White House press corps for the very first time in his presidency at the exact same moment that Kamala was going on stage in Michigan? Well, apparently Kamala's people weren't too happy about it, and there is a rumor going around. It goes like this. Sources say the rift between Kamala Harris and Jill Biden hit a new low last Friday. Kamala was infuriated by Joe Biden's unannounced appearance at the White House briefing room, where he overshadowed Harris's sparsely attended event in Flint, Michigan, and again linked Harris to his record. Harris campaign chairwoman Jen O'Malley Dillon called Jill Biden that night to relay Kamala's frustration. An indignant Jill responded by saying that if that's the way Kamala feels, then don't expect her to hit the campaign trail for Kamala as a surrogate during the final stretch of the election. Jill Biden has been noticeably absent from the campaign. The joy is gone. And I got one more piece of information to share related to that. According to Jack Posobiec, his sources inside the White House, apparently they didn't get into a fist fight on Friday, but Jill's staffers and Kamala staffers were into a serious verbal shouting match. Ain't nobody happy. Well, I should say, let me rephrase that. Kamala's people are definitely not happy with what Joe Biden did. And from their perspective, you can kind of understand why. I mean, we've talked about it before. She's trying desperately to get separated from his record and agenda, and he keeps dragging her right back into it. She can't get loose of him, and Joe won't let her, which sort of begs the question. Is Joe deliberately doing what he's doing, or is he just sort of befuddled in his mind? You know where I come down on this. He's absolutely, he knows exactly what he's doing to Kamala. Yeah, and small time, you are absolutely right. If Mamala ain't happy, ain't nobody happy. Well, I got bad news for Kamala. If Jill's not happy, we don't care if Kamala's not happy or not, because Jill still rules the White House. So, Kamala can get as indignant as she wants to. It ain't helping her right now. Hang on just. So, yeah, thought I'd pass along that little piece of information. Like I say, I don't know what's going to happen in the next 29 days. But why do I get the distinct feeling that before this election is done, that Joe's going to do a few more things that has the potential to infuriate Kamala Harris. Oh, yeah. Yeah, I could see Joe saying something like this. Absolutely. Absolutely. Oh, man. Tell you what, it's 9:05. Let me do a real quick commercial, and then I'm going to, and Midmo, I'm going to, the stuff you sent me, brother, I'm not ignoring it, but I'm going to save some of this for when we get back together on Thursday. Because Mike is supposed to be coming on the channel tomorrow night. If he doesn't, I will talk about this stuff then. If he does, it'll be Thursday when we get to it, but I am not forgetting about this. So I'm not forgetting it. And I'm thankful for everything you sent me, brother, but time is raining on here, and I want to, I did. And it will be spoken about. I promise you, sir. All right. One last thing, and we'll get out of here. And I would be really remiss. Motard, that means more to me than you know. I appreciate it, brother. I really do. But we'll get there. We'll get there, brother. We'll get there. You know, one of my mottos in life when it comes to me, I'm too silly to know any better, too stubborn to quit, and too ornery to die. Trust me. This audience is going to get built. I might be in the nursing home when it happens, but I'll get built. I got it. Anyway, it is October 7th. It is the 1-year anniversary of Hamas's attack on Israel, and the 1-year anniversary of the war that has ensued. A lot of people have died. Israelis, Palestinians, and others around the Middle East. And much like our 9/11, where we take time to reflect on what happened and remember those who've been lost, as you might expect, around the world, and particularly here in the United States, people are taking the opportunity to pause, reflect, etc. President Trump, for his part, visited the grave in New York City of Rabbi Menachem Mendel Schneerson in Queens, New York. The area was secured by Secret Service and NYPD. Solemn occasion marks the massacre that left 1,200 people dead and many others taken hostage by Hamas in southern Israel. The area is known in Queens is known as Ohel. And no, I'm not trying to make a joke with that. Ohel. Never mind. My Yiddish is not going to my Yiddish is not going to come off sounding good. So let's just say the gravesite of Rabbi Menachem Mendel Schneerson, very important leader in the Jewish community. Kamala Harris and Doug Emhoff, and Doug is Jewish, and they took the opportunity to for a moment of silence, a moment of reflection, and is a symbolic gesture. And again, this is not a criticism. This is not a criticism of them. They took the opportunity to plant a tree to show, hopefully growth that comes out of this. And it was, in all seriousness, it was a very, somber, solemn moment. I'm not making fun of them for it. And we've got a little bit of a clip. And with that, here's what Doug Emhoff and his wife Kamala Harris did to celebrate, or commemorate, I should say, the October 7th attack on Israel. And after they finished using the shovels. I stood there together in a moment of silence and reflection. I mean, on the whole, that was pretty classy. And I do have to say, I give Doug Emhoff a lot of credit. For a corporate lawyer, guy knows how to handle a shovel. Now, Kamala, on the other hand, she didn't handle her shovel very well. But that sort of begs an even more important question. She might not be able to handle a shovel, but does she know how to handle a hoe? Anyway, on that slightly sarcastic comment, I will leave you guys for the evening. It's about 10 minutes after 9, and you guys need to get on with your lives. I want to thank you guys for being here tonight for Chatting on the Porch. Like I say, if Hurricane Milton does not derail it, my good buddy Mike Harlow is going to be here tomorrow night at 7 o'clock Eastern. So we're going to start about a half an hour earlier than what we do. If he's not here, we'll go with regular Chatting on the Porch. I should know, hopefully, this evening. I'm going to call Mike and check on him. And, because like I say, he's right in the path of that thing. Granted, he's on the eastern side of Florida. But if Milton hits the state as hard as I think it's going to, then, he's right in the path of this thing. And, and don't get me wrong, I'm worried about all my friends down south, be it Flagrant Trigger in the Carolinas and everybody else, and Crash Mondo, one of the original clout goblins. So, all my good buddies down that neck of the woods I'm worried about. So, and if you have friends and family in the Florida area where this thing's headed for, look, I'm not telling you what to do, but check on them. Okay? Absolutely check on them. Anyway, we're going to be here either at 7 o'clock tomorrow night with Mike, or we're going to be here 7:30 for Chatting on the Porch just by myself. Wednesday night, 6 o'clock Eastern, I'm going to be on Gen X Marks the Spot with Tracy Barkley. We're going to be doing a discussion about the origins of the Israeli-Palestinian conflict, and that's on her channel at 6 o'clock. So we're going to have stuff going on this week. So I'll do my best to keep you guys apprised of what's happening on social media. But in the meanwhile, thank you guys so much for being here tonight. I genuinely do appreciate it. Love you guys. Take care. Thanks for everything. Leave a thumbs up. Leave some comments. Tell your friends. Share it around. You guys are absolutely fantastic. And remember the words of that great American philosopher, Tom T. Hall, when he said, "It's faster horses, younger lovers, older whiskey, and more money." Love you guys. We'll see you tomorrow night.